Konnichiwa, this is Sakura, and you're watching PokeCast. For another Game Boy Top 10s, this is Card Games Go Fish Part 1. And these are going to be card games on the Game Boy. As always, rules are helpful, so rule number 1, it has to be in GameFAQs Miscellaneous group. Because there are several different categories that card games are in, it has to be at least in the major category of Miscellaneous. It took me a while to find all of them. Rule number 2, as always, no Game Boy Color games since the Game Boy Color is the next-gen system. And I have to say, I can't wait to get to the Game Boy Color games just to talk about more card games, since there are some that I'm very excited about. And then finally, rule number 3, it has to be played with cards. As long as the game itself has cards as its base playing elements, then it's going to be in this game. I mean, this game, wow, this top 10. Alright, moving on. Number 10, Cool Hands. This one just has to be there because there's only 10 games here. This was actually the worst one I played. It has a collection of games, of course. On here, it's just, if anything, it's the size of the cards. They try to put a ton of images on the cards. So I don't have footage of it, but the worst one was actually Solitaire because it takes up so much of the screen. It was a horrible, horrible edition for a Game Boy. And I believe this is in French, in case anybody was wondering. Unfortunately, I was unable to find the American English edition or the UK English edition. So yeah, it's all in French. But yeah, I just don't like how big it was. If you're going to use the whole screen, go ahead and do that. You know, this guy right here, your dealer, that's cool. That makes sense. But when your cards take up so much of the screen to where you're just like fighting to try and play it, you just lose a lot. And that's why it's here. It did not work very well. In my opinion, it wasn't playable to how all the other games on this list was. Had they fixed the size of the cards, I probably would have liked it a tad bit better. But that's what ruined the game for me. Is just the cards were too big and filled up the screen and made Solitaire impossible to play. Which is that and Toy One Blackjack are the two games I would play, if any. So that is number 10, Cool Hands. Alright, number 9, Card Game. The reason why this one is down here, you know, it does come with 3 games and then a fortune teller. This is definitely an earlier game for the Game Boy. You can completely feel that. The reason being is, see, as you saw, I can go back to the title screen, but when you go inside of the game, the only way to get out of the game is to turn off the system and reboot the system. I tried every possible button combination to see if there's a way to exit out of the current game you were playing, and I couldn't find one. Obviously, there has to be like a special button or something. And that's why this one got number 9, is because I had to restart the game to actually play the other games. The fortune teller thing, that was an interesting, you know, add-on to it. I think they should have just dropped that and added one more game into there. But I like the size of the cards. The game was easy to play, easy to tell what you were doing, and of course there's a girl right there blowing you kisses every time you win. I mean, come on, right there's cool. But because of the little things like not being able to choose the next game, that is why this one made number 9, and only having 3 games to really play, and fortune telling one, Yeah, that's why this makes number 9 of the only 11. There's only actually 11 games card base on the Game Boy, two of which for same series, so I couldn't include the other one. So this is number 9. I do like the back of the card. That was pretty nice. Each game has a different set, so that was pretty cool. All right, moving on to the next game, we have Caesar's Palace. I was actually very impressed with what they did with this one. They definitely used the whole screen to make you feel like you're actually playing there. They have, the mouse to help you out. They have, I think, 4 playable games and the women's restroom. Why the women's restroom? I don't know. But the game is playable. You're able to actually do everything you need to and be able to see the cards. And if you're lucky like me, you lose a to win with blackjack quite easily. Oh well. At least I can play that one. Other games I'm not too good at. I believe in this one also has a slot machine in it. I think craps and roulette is also in here with poker, I believe. I think those are the ones in this one. This one and the next one were kind of a hard one to choose from. I think the only other reason why the next one wins, well, you'll see why I probably put that one in ahead. I do like the system how you actually get to choose your bet. It's very well split out. I was very impressed by that. And this one did come out to Japan, and believe it or not, finding a picture of the Japanese art of the box is practically impossible. That one was a challenge to do. So that is that one. Moving on to the one that actually beat it is Vegas Stakes. This one, of course, comes with all the games that are showed right here. And the main reason why I think I enjoyed this one a little bit better is because of the game Super Game Boy that features. And I like how they expanded the screen also. I think that is the main reason, is because the screen is bigger, so you actually get to see a little bit more. They shrunk down the cards to where it was, a perfect size for what you were doing right here. That really helped out. Both games definitely worth pickups. This one is better, mainly because of just they got the right size on the screen. The betting system isn't too bad, but I still have to say that the previous one had a cooler way of doing it. Each of the games play really nicely in this one, and it was just a lot of fun. It is really hard explaining why you like each version when they basically have the same games in each one. But I did enjoy how they just made it easy to play. So, yeah, this is Vegas Stakes. And yeah. Wait, yeah, what's in the video with me losing? That's always good. Hopefully this next one I win. Anyways. Moving on to the next one. Number 6. High stakes gambling. This one you actually, to what it kind of feels like, is that you are playing you're actually playing at one of the mafia's little secret hideouts back in the days when you weren't allowed to gamble. The graphics I really enjoyed. That's the thing I like the most about this game. The graphics, cards are perfectly sized, um, and I like how you can see yourself and you see the dealer, but it's just right. It does have multiple games. You got electronic poker and or slot poker, whatever. I'm sorry, I forget what it's called. And then you have, of course, the slot machine. And I think it's this one. I think there's only 3 games in here, three or 4. But it's the design of how they presented everything is what impressed me the most about this one, and why this one is actually ahead of all the other ones. So yeah, it's this list is just hard. It really is hard to explain why each one is better than the other, but it's mainly just because of the presentation they did in this. It would have been cool to see this with a Super Game Boy feature. Unfortunately, it was released before that, so there was none. Okay, so there's 4 games in it, which is nice. So that is part 1. I hope you guys have liked um, these first 5 games. Please leave your comments below. Let me know what you guys think of each one. If you think one should have been before the other, please let me know. This is G Sakura saying ciao and sayonara.